Money has value because we all agree that it does. That is it. That is the whole secret. There is nothing underneath it but a shared belief, a vast, collective, unspoken agreement among billions of strangers that this particular paper, this particular number, is worth something. And because everyone believes it, it becomes true. We have a name for this kind of money, money that is not backed by gold or silver or anything you can hold. Money that is valuable purely because a government declares it to be, and because everyone agrees to go along with it. It comes from an old word meaning, let it be done, a command, a decree. Your money, the money in every country on the planet today, is exactly this. It is worth something because we have all decided together that it is, and for no other reason. Now, the first time people truly understand this, they often feel a flash of fear. It feels like standing on a bridge and suddenly realizing there is nothing underneath it. If money is just a shared belief, just a story we all tell each other, then is it not incredibly fragile? Could it not all just vanish the moment people stop believing? And the answer is yes, it absolutely could. We have watched it happen. When the belief dies, the money dies with it, exactly as we saw in the great hyperinflations. The story is real, but it can be broken. But here's the other side of that same coin. That shared belief, that collective story, is not as flimsy as it sounds. It is held up by powerful things. It is held up by law, by armies, by the fact that you must pay your taxes in this money and no other. It is held up by the simple, enormous convenience of everyone using the same thing. And most of all, it is held up by habit, by the fact that it worked yesterday and the day before and every day you can remember. Let me make those forces concrete, because they are what turn a fragile-sounding story into something almost unbreakable. Start with taxes. Your government demands that you pay it every year in its money and only its money. You cannot pay your taxes in seashells or in a neighboring country's currency or in gold. That single rule creates a permanent, guaranteed demand for the money baked into the life of every person in the country. You will always need it because the tax collector will always come. Then there is the law. The money is declared legal tender, which means a shop cannot legally refuse it. Every contract, every debt, every wage is written in it. The entire legal skeleton of society is built on top of this one currency. And then there is the quietest, most powerful force of all, the network. Money is only useful if other people accept it. And everyone around you already accepts this money, which means you will too, which means the next person will too. Each person who uses it makes it more useful for everyone else. It is a belief that constantly reinforces itself billions of times a day in every shop and every paycheck and every price tag on Earth. A belief shared by billions of people, anchored by taxes, enforced by law, and reinforced every single day by every single transaction, is one of the strongest forces humans have ever created. It is invisible, but it is not weak. So that is the truth about the money in your pocket. It is not backed by gold, it is backed by belief. It is a story so widely told and so deeply believed that it became as solid as any metal. But a story always has an author. And this brings us back to the uncomfortable question from our last episode. If money is just belief, then whoever controls the supply of money controls the value of that belief. And we know who that is: the central banks. The people with the keyboard who can create more of this believed-in money whenever they choose. Which means your money has two quiet vulnerabilities sitting underneath everything. The first is that its value depends on a belief that could, in a crisis, break. And the second is that the people managing it can quietly create more of it, slowly diluting what you hold a little more each year. We call that inflation. And now you understand what it really is. It is not prices going up. It is the value of the shared belief being watered down from the inside by the only people allowed to print it. And this second vulnerability is the sneaky one, because it does not feel like anything is being taken from you. No one reaches into your wallet. The number in your bank account does not drop. You still have your 1,000. But quietly, year after year, that 1,000 buys a little less. The coffee costs a bit more. The rent creeps up. Your savings, sitting perfectly still, lose a sliver of their power while you sleep. Nothing was stolen in the way a thief steals. The value simply leaked out of the bottom so slowly that you adjusted to it without ever quite noticing. Over a lifetime, that slow leak can quietly drain away most of what a unit of money was once worth. And it happens not through any crime, but through the ordinary, everyday working of the machine we have spent this whole season taking apart. For most of human history, you simply had to accept this. If you wanted to use money, you had to trust someone. A goldsmith, a government, a central bank. There was no other option. To have money was to trust a powerful institution, not to abuse the pen. And then, not very long ago, a small group of people asked a question that sounds impossible. A question that had been quietly nagging at the edges of all of this. What if you could have money that required no trust at all? No goldsmith, no government, no central bank, no man on television who can break the promise, no keyboard that someone can use to print more and dilute what you hold. Money with no one in charge of it. Money that nobody could inflate, nobody could freeze, nobody could control. For all of history, this was simply impossible. And the reason it was impossible is a problem so deep that it is worth understanding, because it is the whole reason banks had to exist in the first place. And now you know how the story works, which means you will never look at money the same way again. Thank you for watching this season of The Money Machine. If it changed the way you see the world even a little, then the machine has done its work. Until next time.